Hello, welcome back to another video. Today we are at that point in the year where we're talking about the books that I still want to get to before the year is out. We have like a month and a half left of 2022. I am not accounting for any Christmas festive reads that I want to read before the year is out because honestly those books are all under my bed at the moment and I cannot remember which ones I've read and which ones I haven't read. So I have a stack of 10 books. These are the books that I want to read before the year is out. I don't know how realistic this is. Where am I even at with my Goodreads goal? Hang on, let's find that out. I wanted to read, wait, hang on, I think I've hit my Goodreads goal. I think I wanted to read 70 books, but now I'm trying to push it to 100. Yeah, I wanted to read 70 books. I've read 88, so I need to read another 12 by the time the year is out to have hit my 100, which I think is realistic. Actually, I need to read another 11 because I've forgotten to mark my current read as finished. So I feel like that's realistic. Should be doable. Hopefully. But here's some 10 that I'd like to get to before 2022 is over. Also, I'm going to start off by saying that I'm currently reading Amari the Great Game, which would be on this list, but I started it last night. This is obviously one I want to get to before the year is over, but I am now reading it. So an honorary mention to this one, which will hopefully be book number 89 of the year for me. Okay, so the first book I would like to read before the end of the year is Michelle Paver's Thin Air. When I asked for scary book recommendations, this is one that came up a lot. Wasn't in the horror section in the bookshop, so I'm questioning how scary it's going to be versus more atmospheric. It says it's a ghost story on the cover. The blurb is incredibly vague. We're following a group of people who are climbing up a mountain in 1935, and I think that there is some kind of ghostly element intertwined. It says 5 Englishmen set out to conquer the mountain, but courage can only take them so far, and the higher they climb, the darker it gets. The reviews say it's more atmospheric. Terror on a grander scale, wonderfully atmospheric and hugely enjoyable, emotionally compelling and imbued with creepy dread. Just fantastic. No one's saying it's scary. A heart-freezing masterpiece on the front. I just want the fear. I am on a constant search for the fear and I am not going to stop this search until I find a book that scares me. So this is one that was recommended a lot. I know there's another book by Michelle Paver that I've completely forgotten the name of that I want to look into because apparently that one is also quite good. If it's just atmospheric, I'm also okay with that because I am just generally here for the kind of gothic spooky vibes. I just want the fear. So this is book number 1. Along this same ilk, book number 2 is The Cabin at the End of the World. This is by Paul Tremblay. This is being adapted into a film next year, so I wanted to try and read this one before the film adaptation comes out. No idea when the film adaptation is coming out. This one is hopefully again one that will scare me. This follows 7-year-old Wen and her parents Eric and Andrew, who are vacationing in a remote cabin on a quiet New Hampshire lake with their closest neighbours more than 2 miles in either direction. So we have the isolated setting. As Wen catches grasshoppers, how do you catch grasshoppers? Like, they would just jump so fast. Catching grasshoppers in the front yard, a stranger unexpectedly appears in their driveway. Leonard is the largest man Wen has ever seen, but he is young and friendly. Leonard and Wen talk and play until Leonard abruptly apologises and tells Wen none of what's going to happen is your fault. 3 more strangers arrive at the cabin carrying unidentifiable, menacing objects, which I assume are the objects on the front of the cover. As Wen sprints inside to warn her parents, Leonard calls out, "Your dads won't let us in, Wen, but they have to. We need your help to save the world." So begins an unbearably tense and gripping tale of paranoia, sacrifice, apocalypse, and survival that escalates to a shattering conclusion, one in which the fate of a loving family and quite possibly all of humanity are intertwined. It definitely sounds interesting. Again, I'm not 100% if this is actually going to scare me or not. Stephen King says it's thought-provoking and terrifying with tension that winds up like a chain, so I feel like it's going to be more tense than it is going to be necessarily scary. I mean, it might be scary in the apocalypse sense, but I don't know. But I want to read this one because I want to read it before the film adaptation comes out. Okay, then we have Bitter Thorne by Kat Dunn. This is an ARC. This one comes out in May next year. I'm very excited for this one. This is on my TBR this month, so I'm hoping I can get to it this month. What I do know about this one is it's a gothic fantasy romance, but that is pretty much all I currently know. The tagline says it's a darkly seductive gothic romance from the author of Dangerous Remedy. I love Dangerous Remedy. It's such a fun series. What is this one about? I should know this. The town of Blumwald is overshadowed by an ancient curse. In the depths of the wild wood lives a monstrous witch. Once a generation she comes to claim a companion to return with her, never to be seen again. Now that time is drawing near once more, Mina, grieving and hopeless, offers herself up, though she has no idea what fate awaits her. Stranded with her darkly alluring captor, mystery of what happened to the previous companions draws Mina into the heart of a terrifying secret that could save her life or end it. I enjoy myself a gothic romance. I think this one's sapphic as well. Yeah, it's an unmissable gothic sapphic romance from Kat Dunn, perfect for fans of Leigh Bardugo and Naomi Novik. I really enjoy Kat Dunn's writing, so I'm really excited for this one. I'm hoping this is one I can get to this month. Then I have 5 to Survive by Holly Jackson. I am going to be making a dedicated video for this. The front cover gives you a little bit of a hint. Your 8 hours start now. What could it be? This I am excited for because I absolutely loved the Good Girl's Guide to Murder series by Holly Jackson. I thought it was a great YA thriller series. I didn't love the last one as much. I wasn't best pleased with the way it ended. I felt it was frustrating. However, I did really enjoy the moments that gave me the goosebump feeling. It definitely had a lot of those moments, and I hope that this one does as well. The back of this one says, the red dot moved again toward the wheel, toward her. She backed away and the dot disappeared, re-emerging on the other side of her, moving beyond the back wheel. A crack in the darkness, louder now she was outside with it. She flinched, hands up to her ears, and the red dot wasn't there anymore, but there was something else. A splintered hole in the RV, the size of a bullet. I don't want to know too much about this. I want to go into this relatively blind. I'm very excited for this one. I think it's going to be really, really good. And I have a lot of faith that Holly Jackson has the ability to keep me hooked for the whole time and keep me constantly guessing. This one I think will be one that I get to within this month, hopefully. But as I said, there will be a dedicated video for this one. Then we have a fairy loot book. We have One Dark Window here by Rachel Gillig. This is absolutely stunning, but also one that I've heard very, very good things about. And I've been told that I will really like this one. So I feel like I need to get to this one before the end of the year. This has a magic system that is centered around tarot cards, I think. An ancient mercurial spirit is trapped inside Elspeth Spindle's head. She calls him the Nightmare. He protects her, he keeps her secrets, but nothing comes for free, especially magic. When Elspeth meets a mysterious highwayman on the forest road, she's thrust into a world of shadow and deception. Together they embark on a dangerous quest to cure the town of Blunder from the dark magic infecting it. As the stakes heighten and their undeniable attraction intensifies, Elspeth is forced to face her darkest secret yet. The Nightmare is slowly, darkly taking over her mind, and she might not be able to stop him. I'm pretty sure I have it in my head that there is something to do with tarot cards in the magic system for this, but I think this one sounds interesting. It's very pretty, and I would like to try and get to this one before 2022 is over. This is one that I picked up last night at the Hoddesgate Winter Ball. It is Chloe Gong's Immortal Longings. Very excited for this one. This is Chloe Gong's epic fantasy adult debut, and I cannot wait. Chloe Gong's writing is just fantastic. I love the political fantasy, I love the magic systems and the relationships in Chloe Gong's books. This one is an Antony and Cleopatra retelling, which I think is going to be very, very cool. It's a fiery collision of power plays, spilled blood and romance amidst a set of deadly games. Chloe Gong just writes such good romances, so I'm really hyped for this one. Oh, and this one comes out in July 2023. Another arc that I picked up last night, we have City of Nightmares by Rebecca Schaefer. This one comes out February 2023. This sounds so cool. The first line of the blurb talks about how our main character's sister is turned into a man-eating spider, which just... I'm so intrigued by how that goes about happening. So this one sounds really cool, sounds very different, definitely very interesting. The back tagline says, face your fear or become your nightmare. And I think that basically if you dream about something, it happens to you. So it's a town or a city where people don't sleep, because if you sleep, you wake up as your worst fear. So our main character is terrified to wake up like her sister, a man-eating spider, and is in this city that never sleeps, because dreaming means you wake up as your worst fear. Whether that means becoming a nightmare that's monstrous only in appearance, or transforming into a twisted, unrecognisable creature that terrorises the city, no one is safe. Ness will do anything to avoid becoming a victim, even if that means lying low among the Friends of the Restful Soul, a questionable organisation that may or may not be a cult. But being a member of this maybe cult has a price. In order to prove herself, Ness cons her way into what's supposed to be a simple job for the organisation, only for it to blow up in her face, literally. Tangled up in the aftermath of an explosive assassination, now Ness and the only other survivor, a nightmare boy who Ness suspects is planning to eat her, must find their way back to Newham and uncover the sinister truth behind the attack, even as the horrors of her past loom ominously near. This one sounds so cool. I am excited for this one, and as I said, this one comes out in February 2023. I realise that as you're watching this video, if you're watching this on the day it comes out, I haven't yet posted the vlog from the Hot Escape party, so that will be coming on Tuesday. Again, if you're not watching this on the day it comes out, then it might well be out already, but there is a vlog coming. Okay, next up is my Patreon book club pick for November, December. This is Dolly Alderton's Ghosts. I have had this one on my TBR for so long, I feel like it's going to be majorly relatable for me, so I am definitely looking forward to finally getting to this one before the end of the year. This follows Nina Dean, who is in her early 30s, a successful food writer with loving friends and family, with a new home and neighbourhood, when she meets Max, a beguiling romantic hero who tells her on date 1 that he's going to marry her. It feels like it's all going to plan. I feel like if someone told me on their first date with me that they were going to marry me, I would be a little bit creeped out, I'm not gonna lie. A new relationship couldn't have come at a better time. Her 30s have not been the liberating, uncomplicated experience she was sold. Everywhere she turns, she is reminded of time passing and opportunities dwindling. Friendships are fading, ex-boyfriends are moving on, and worse, everyone's moving to the suburbs. There's no solace to be found in her family, with a mum who's caught in a baffling midlife makeover, and a beloved dad who is vanishing in slow motion into dementia. Dolly Alderton's debut novel is funny and tender, filled with whip-smart observations about relationships, family, memory, and how we live now. I may not be in my early 30s, I'm in my late 20s, so I'm kind of getting towards that point, but I can definitely empathise with the moments in this book about how everyone's moving at a different pace and how she is not at that pace, and I think that is going to be really interesting, and I feel like for me is going to tap into something that I can very personally relate to, whilst it's not exactly the same situation. That is why I wanted to read this one. I think this one sounds like it's going to be very real, very relatable, and definitely have a lot of personal aspects to it. The Lighthouse Witches by C.J. Cook is another book that I would like to read before the year is over. I recently read The Nesting by C.J. Cook and absolutely loved it. Such a good atmospheric horror. I don't know if this is going to be following quite the same path, but I'm really interested to see if I like this one. My mum read this one recently and didn't love it, so I'm intrigued to see if I enjoy it, having enjoyed The Nesting by the same author. Of course, it's set on a remote Scottish island, as so many creepy atmospheric books are. There is a lighthouse on this island, a lighthouse that has weathered more than storms. Mysterious and terrible events have happened on this island. It started with a witch hunt, now centuries later, islanders are vanishing without explanation. Coincidence or curse? Liv Stay flees to the island with her 3 daughters in search of a home. What a good island to flee to. She doesn't believe in witches or dark omens or hauntings, but within months her daughter Luna will be the only one of them left. 20 years later, Luna is drawn back to the place her family vanished. As the last sister left, it's up to her to find out the truth, but what really happened at the lighthouse all those years ago. I don't know if this is going to be horror-esque or just more like kind of gothic atmospheric, but I think it sounds interesting, and I would definitely like to read this one to be able to see if I like this one better or if I like The Nesting better. And the final book that I would like to get to, in no particular order as well, this isn't like the last one of the year I want to read, but the final book of this list is Sundial by Katrina Ward. This is another author that I have read from this year previously with The Last House on Needless Street and absolutely loved it, so I'm really hoping I enjoy this one. The cover, absolutely stunning. This is one that I had seen about in bookshops and not really looked twice at it, and I don't know why, because the cover is so gripping, and also now having read from this author I know what kind of style potentially to expect. So obviously I have now picked this book up, had a look, and I'm really excited to read it. So let me tell you a little bit about it. You can't escape the desert, you can't escape the sundial. Rob fears for her daughters, for Callie who collects tiny bones and whispers to imaginary friends. For Annie because she fears what Callie might do to her. Rob sees a darkness in Callie, one that reminds her of the family she left behind. She decides to take Callie back to her childhood home, to Sundial, deep in the Mojave Desert, and there she will have to make a terrible choice. Callie is afraid of her mother. Rob has begun to look at her strangely, to tell her secrets about her past that both disturb and excite her, and Callie is beginning to wonder if only one of them will leave Sundial alive. Now, The Last House on Needless Street was mind-blowingly, fantastically addictive, very strange, very unique. So I'm kind of hoping for big things from this book. I'm hoping that it does the same kind of thing. I haven't heard anything about this, so I am going into this pretty blind other than the synopsis. I don't know if people have enjoyed it or hated it, so I'm excited to see how I find this one and how it compares to The Last House on Needless Street. Okay, those are the 10 books that I would like to get to before the year is over. I'm hoping I can. Obviously, I will still be doing Fictionary for December, so I hope that some of these can make their way onto Fictionary. I have been loosely mood reading around my TBR as well, so I am getting a few more books in than the ones I put on my TBR. Honestly, it depends how much I can read in December, but I'm really hoping to hit that 100 books, and I think I will hopefully be able to hit that. I think that's fairly realistic for me because we still have half of November left and then obviously the full month of December, and I also tend to read quite a lot in the last week of December because I go back to my family home and I'm not doing any work, so I'm just sat relaxing, able to spend some time reading, which is very, very nice. So this is my stack. I hope you enjoyed this video. Do let me know in the comments what 10 books, or what books, at least if it's not 10, what books you would like to try and read before the year is over, and if you've read any of these, let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you did like, please do give it a thumbs up. As I said, comment down below if you have read any of these or what you would like to read before the year is over. You can also subscribe to see more of my face on your feed, and link down below you can find my Patreon, where I do lots of extra content such as weekly live shows, and I also have a link down below to my online shop. Thank you so much for watching, keep smiling and stay positive.